Hey there, friends. A happy Sunday. Hopefully you're having a great weekend so far. We are kicking things off with some very light showers as a front moves in. It's a weakening front and it doesn't have a lot of moisture with it. However, still bringing us some light showers, much needed light showers. I know it's not as bright and beautiful as Saturday, but some of us love this fall-like weather. And we're going to flip the switch into our Tuesday. Summer's going to come back, not just a couple of 80s sprinkled in. I'm talking highs in the mid and potentially upper 80s for some of our hottest spots as we get the push of offshore winds. Unfortunately, that could bring us some wildfire smoke. But we have another system moving in by Wednesday that's going to bring us some onshore winds once again. So we'll have cooler temperatures, more clouds, maybe a couple of light showers with Wednesday's system, and eventually we'll just get rid of some of that wildfire smoke. So we'll see. It's still kind of up in the air, but literally, but we are still going to have the push of offshore winds. We're going to have a thermal trough moving over the area, and then with the offshore winds, that means we will warm up quickly. And so 84, that may even be a little on the cool side for Seattle. We'll fine tune the forecast as we get a little closer, but today we're going to have showers, going to have maybe a few sun breaks, especially for South Sound, Southwest Interior, once this front moves in. And it's moving into western Washington, but you can see sandwiched between the Olympics, we have light showers south of Olympia, and then we have light showers over the islands and moving into British Columbia. And then out ahead of the front over central and eastern Washington, we've had some heavier showers. But either way, this front's going to move in, and then along I-5 with that front providing that lift, could have some more showers reorganizing over from about along the I-5 corridor from the Cascade foothills, from Pierce County all the way up to the north. And I mentioned convergent zone showers. That is a good possibility, and I'll show you in just a minute. Let's take you up to Hurricane Ridge. We've had some soaking rain there. It's light, but still soaked the camera at least, and then you couldn't see much, but you see how dry it is atop Hurricane Ridge. And so it's not looking likely after today that we'll get any meaningful rain. Yes, a couple of light showers on Wednesday, but looking ahead to next weekend, we could have a couple of systems rolling in. But today, this is a weak one, but if you're headed up to Paradise, going to be cool, a little blustery. We'll have some poor visibility. Snow level, by the way, is at 9,000 feet, but tomorrow looking better, and especially into Tuesday, but keep in mind with that wildfire smoke that we'll be tracking for you. Tacoma, it's a little breezy, as you can see from the flag there. We still generally have southerly and westerly winds, but with this front moving in, we'll get that wind shift. But you can't see Mount Rainier, you can't see the base of it at least, as we're locked under these clouds. Everett, typical convergent zone where we'll see some of these showers developing as we head into the afternoon and then the evening. And so it may look pretty gray, blustery, and then rainy for a good chunk of the day from about Snohomish County northward. Now King County will be along that line as well. Futurecast shows the front passing through from west to east as we head toward about lunchtime, and then into the early afternoon you see most of the precipitation gone, and except for that convergence zone. So from again about Puget Sound from King County northward, and then the northern Kitsap Peninsula. Then we get closer to about dinner time or so, and you see how it starts to fade away. So that convergence zone will begin to fade, and then by tomorrow morning we're pretty dry. Could have a couple of lingering sprinkles, but we're not expecting anything meaningful or any accumulating rain. And speaking of accumulating rain, most of us will be lucky if we get 1/10 of an inch, which I know it's not much, but at least it's something. But where the convergent zone showers set up, that's where we could pick up maybe 1/4 of an inch, maybe even higher than that. High temperatures today going to be generally in the mid and upper 60s for Puget Sound, especially if we get some sun to wrap up the day, which is a good possibility from South Sound all the way to the south, and then maybe even portions of the foothills. foothills. Again, this is going to be the areas that start to dry out into the afternoon. But all in all, it's going to be very cool. Going to be very cool overnight as well, in the 40s to lower 50s. And so the kiddos might need a light jacket in the morning, but then we'll warm up once we get rid of the clouds into the 60s and 70s, and we'll have that drier wind as well. Highs from about Everett northward and over the northwest interior, generally in the mid and upper 60s, and then from Seattle to the south and the Cascade foothills, lower and mid 70s. But then we get into Tuesday. I wasn't kidding. We get those offshore winds, and so temperatures are going to warm into the mid and upper 80s. Wouldn't be surprised to see some of the Cascade foothills, valleys warming up to near 90 degrees, but you see all the way up to Bellingham in the lower 80s and potentially closer to the coast as well. Hoquiam, Quileute, maybe Forks as well. And I mentioned the offshore winds, and we know typically, yes, we heat up with that, but the wildfires that are over the Cascades, over central and eastern Washington, some of that wildfire smoke may cross over the Cascades into the lowlands and into Puget Sound. Now, this is all levels of the atmosphere, so most of it should stay maybe above surface level, but either way, we'll be watching that for you. But by Wednesday, it shouldn't be a problem as we get that next system moving in. As I mentioned, likely not going to have much with it, maybe a few showers. This is Wednesday evening as it begins, Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. You see not a lot of green. Thursday, we're mostly clear, cooler, same for Friday. But then late into Saturday, timing still a bit iffy. Obviously, it's 6 to 7 days away, but we'll start to get some showers rolling in. Maybe late Saturday and into Sunday, we'll fine tune it as we get a little closer, but it's just a sign of the times and of the seasons changing that we're getting closer and closer to fall. We are 8 days away to the fall equinox. That's when we'll have 12 hours, 9 minutes of daylight. But at this rate, September and October, this is when we lose the most daylight. You would think it's November because we fall back in our, we head back into standard time, and so that's when we get the big dark, where our sunset times are before 5 o'clock, and that's November 2nd. It seems very early because it is. For the entire month of September and October, each month we lose 90 to 100 minutes of daylight. So yes, the big dark's coming. So let's wrap up your 7-day forecast, because again, we have a lot of changes. 60 showers and sun breaks today, clearing on Monday. Tuesday's the hottest day, but then we fall back into the 60s and 70s, cool mornings as well. And even long range guidance shows that we may be in that fall like weather pattern as we head into fall and maybe the end of September, with some passing systems bringing clouds, some showers, and cooler temperatures. But as we well know, we need the rain. So if you are a big summer lover, hang tight and take full advantage of Tuesday. Remember, you can always find the latest on King 5, King 5 Plus, and the free King 5 app, as well as online.